It's interesting, like, when you were talking about going to Jamaica and, like, kind of having that break even to, like, this is the real world. There's other aspects of, how people live, and people do live in poverty, but they're still can somehow find it in them to be generous. Do you see the parallel between that and Siddhartha's journey?
For sure.
Like,
Yeah,
as you were saying that, I was all like, "Oh," like, he read Siddhartha and was talking about how that was important, like, I could see the parallels when he, like, left the palace and was, like,
yeah,
realizing, "Oh."
for sure. I mean, I was not raised as a prince, you know, that would be the difference. Grew up on a military base and in suburbs and, things like that.
But there was you
But,
had the
but
privileges
definite,
that a lot of yeah.
yeah, but absolutely. There are a lot of parallels, and that is something that's interesting. And that's something that I never really considered before. So that is a interesting observation. But no, there would be a lot of parallels that it probably is good that I had that as a reference point. Like, even though maybe I didn't compute that in my brain, that information was in there, that story was in there. Mm, Yeah, that's a very interesting take. No,
And you
there
talk
would
a
be.
lot about isolation as well, and that's
Yeah,
part of this journey.
yeah. And that's been where my take on Eastern philosophy has been, and it is typically about internal reflection and internalizing, and ultimately, that's somewhat of the goal of meditation. So that is, yeah, like a reoccurring theme that probably somewhat goes back to trauma, like kind of as I said in the beginning. If you can't really depend on someone, you're depending solely on yourself. So this was kind of something that I felt from a very young age. So I think, yeah, that probably was the draw on those things that were kind of teaching us self mastery, self discipline, looking within, reflecting. I think all those things lended themselves to someone who, yeah, ultimately felt like I didn't have anyone to talk to about
Mhm.
these things. So I think that was an important aspect of it, and something that really did help me quite a bit, since I was in the reality, I wasn't forced to deal with this on my own. Like, I chose to it
Mhm.
on some level, but I was a child that didn't fully know the consequences of my choices. If I could go back and put an adult brain in my child body, I probably would have said, tell your parents, you know?
Well, that's the thing about, the developing brain, like, especially when you're a child, like, you don't make those connections of, "This is what I need to do." Your brain's just trying to keep you safe. Your brain's trying to do the thing that is the easiest and the most accessible to your knowledge and capabilities. So a lot of times it is like freezing, shutting down, keeping quiet, placating, fawning, things like that.
Yeah.
It it just kind of gets wired into your nervous system, especially when it's that young of an age, and
Yeah.
learning to be okay with being isolated, or being okay with doing things all on your own and being hyper independent. Like, independence is great. Hyper independence can be a trauma response.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing too.